Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Business Inside the Game. I'm your host, Baron Davis, and in Business Inside the Game, we're going to take a journey into some of the best innovators, best minds, best leaders, whether they're athletes, artists, entertainers, investors, and figure out what their inside is, what made them tick, what made them go, what made them successful. I have the honor of having my first guest, which means this is my first intro. He is a legend, a future Hall of Famer, a pioneer at redefining a position. He is the exuberance of speed, balance, charisma, clutch. He has a will to win, and he has the intelligence to guide a team from a key position in clutch moments. He is the master of catches, the masters of routes, a businessman, a producer now, a father, a legend, the homie, Julian Edelman, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a business.
He's a businessman. All the way from Redwood City.
Redwood City.
How was that? Talk about Redwood City. Growing up
Redwood City.
in the Bay, Redwood City.
Redwood City was cool. It's changed a lot now with tech and that whole world. But when I was back there, we had a good group because, for athletics, you had like these tough, hard-nosed little white kids, and you had a lot of the Tongans and Samoans, and we had a lot of mixture of the black kids. So like our sports, we were elite in all of our sports because we just had an insane kind of pool of talent that we were able to pull from. Redwood City is a little suburb, 30 miles south of San Fran.
Home
it was
of
good.
tech now.
Home of tech. Down now it's all tech.
Silicon Valley.
It's all
Has
like
extended to Redwood City. Would you say?
Even more. I mean, Mountain View's right down the road. Stanford was right down the street. Berkeley's across the bridge.
Yeah.
So growing up in the Bay was awesome. I loved it. It was a huge melting pot of people. Being a California kid, I got to really realize that when I went out to Ohio for school.
Yeah, Kent State.
And that's when I realized, man, it really is different in California. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Dude, I lived in Cleveland. I got traded.
Yeah.
I was Cleveland.
I was right there in Kent.
Yeah, I know. I went up there. I went to Kent a couple of times just to get out of Cleveland, go to some games. You know what I mean? Just to see a different environment. But you do see the dynamic of I am probably in this I am really in the Sunshine State, and now I'm going to it's a grind.
It's a grind, and it was just little things for me. I never seen so many American-made cars driven around. You're near to Detroit, you're in the Midwest, everyone's got a GMC, a Ford, a Cadillac. That's one thing. Two, there was only white and black people.
Yeah.
I asked my teammates, hey, do we got any Samoans or Tongans? What is that? I'm like, the Rock?
Yeah.
We thought that was a big Mexican. That's what it was in Ohio. And but it's salt of the earth people. These people work their tails off. They work hard, they love sports. And they're happy people there,
and they care. Yeah, they are passionate about. They're passionate about their sports. Redwood City, growing up, you come from diversity. You know what I mean? And when people think of you, or when people may watch you, they New England Patriots. You know what I mean? GQ model. Kind of. They underestimate you, right?
Yeah.
You thrive off of being underestimated. Where does that come from? Does that come from being in this competitive environment in Redwood City? Does it come from your parents? Where does that?
That comes from a whole lot of things. You know, having an older brother that was 7 years older than me. You know, he used to just beat me up all the time. You know what I mean? You know, when you have a 14-year-old brother when you're 7, you're lugging around with him and his friends. You know, you tend not to be afraid of anything because of those experiences. My father was very tough on me. I mean, whether it was football, baseball, or basketball season, we were practicing something every day. I mean, we bring the bat and balls to the camping trip. We had one vacation in between baseball and football season. We go camping, and you know, we'd always have all-stars after. And my dad would bring the bat and balls. We'd be taking batting practice at the lake, and you know, my sister would be shagging balls, and you know, so it was that was always there, and then always being overlooked. There was always someone better than me. You know, there's someone that was faster, that was stronger, that was bigger. And I never thought that way, you know, so that would always piss me off and motivate me to make people realize that I belonged. So it created a chip on my shoulder at all times, not getting recruited out of high school when I went to Woodside, going to college at San Mateo, junior college for a year. Those created a grind. It was a grind. And then going to Kent State, you know, my goal was to play. I want to play Division I quarterback. You know, I heard, you know, I wanted to play quarterback. I had a lot of schools that wanted me to come and change positions, and I didn't want to do that, you know. And going to Kent, you know, having to compete against the starter, beating a guy out, like I always had to compete for my place. At all times, even when I was the better guy, because everyone was trying to replace you or do something, you know. And so I've always felt that energy of like having to prove people wrong. And when it was uncomfortable, I was so used to being uncomfortable with how my dad, my older brother, my dad trained me with the situations that I was in, that I was always comfortable in the uncomfortable.
You have to live in that.
So like, you know, when I got drafted in New England, you know, hard environment to play. It's tough, but you win. But I was accustomed to tough love. I was accustomed to that coaching style of what everyone has their narrative they think it is in New England. You know, I was accustomed to that because of what I grew up with. So, you know, I that pulls from a lot of different directions.
I would say also like the self-motivation, right? It's that as athletes, you're sitting there in the hotel room, right? You're getting ready for a game, and it's like, man, I used to play baseball with my dad. You know what I mean? I used to catch a pass from my best friend, and it's like, are those like those solitude moments that allow you, you know what I mean, to find that like that edge, you know what I mean? Like what are the things that like you're thinking about, and like what are you saying to yourself, right, headed into a game, or you know, when you did get drafted, like where's that appreciation moment, but then also that other trigger that's like, oh the work is not done.
So, you know, when I got drafted in the 7th round, last round, you know, and I was a quarterback in college, had to transfer to receiver. So, you know, we had the barbecue, the friends, the family, everyone was there for the call, and, you know, oh, it's great. Everyone, we're going to the NFL. Well, what people didn't realize, when you get drafted in the 7th round, there's 90 guys on the football team. They cut it down to 53, 46 play on a game day. So once that clicked, I was like, oh shit, I got to make this team. So it was one of those things where, you pulled and you got to experience, you know, an unbelievable day, and you know, remembering playing catch on the street with the, you know, my dad making all the holes with the rocks in the middle of the street. I remembered all that on that draft day, but then right away it clicked in my head that, you know, you got to go out and make a team, and it's business now. So, going into a game though, like for me, I would always go over, and I tried to visualize each and every play. So you have a call sheet in football. You know, we have a lot of time to prepare. You know, it's once a week. So, You rep every play on all your situations, first down, second down, third down, red area, 4-point plays, third down in the red area, backed up situations, change of possession
There's so
situations.
much intelligence that goes into like football. I would say that like even in college, like the football players, I always say we're so much smarter than us because you went to class, like like whether you went to class and then you had like football class.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intelligence in all of that information of studying.
Well, it's very different like the other sports. Like in basketball, you guys have 86 games. You can, fuck around, slide 6 games, and you're good. When every game in football, because of the number of games we have, 17, every week is like life or death. One game can kill you, so you can't afford
to not like,
be prepared. And when you have psycho coaches, like every coach in the NFL is, what they're trying to give you the information so you can go out and play fast. And for me to play fast, I would go through all my plays and I would just visualize, because I wanted, when the situation came in the game, I knew what play we were going to call because we've repped it, we've gone over it, we walked through it. And so then I could think about other things. I could think about my creativity on my route. When the more in football, the more subconsciously you react to the play and you get to use your athleticism. Whatever your super strength is, your superpower. If you're a big guy, you're an explosive guy. I was explosive quick. So I could use those things in my advantage if I studied. I knew everything pre-snap, what was going to happen. So that's what I had to do in order for me to get in the right mindset for a game. I always had just, if I was nervous, because there's a lot of things in football. You're dependent on people. It's you're dependent on execution of 10 other guys. So a lot of shit can hit the fan. But like for me to hone in that anxiety going into a game, that's what I would always fall back on prep and just kind of just keep feeding my brain.
Yeah. I love that because a lot of this show is really, for business inside the game is like, this is the champion mentality, right? It's like whether you're playing football or whether you're an entrepreneur or you're looking at a deal, it's so much research. And then, once that database is filled up, it gives you the opportunity to like be creative. You know what I mean? And see like how something feels, like I would do the same thing in basketball. Like during my nap, I would try to predict the score, and then I would try to predict when different teams had runs, right? So I always would say San Antonio in the third quarter, about 8 minutes, there's a 16-point run that they usually go on us. Yeah. How can you know what I mean? Like, and try to see that out. And like, you get so frustrated because you're like, how do you stop that? Or how do you feel your way through it? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, no, I just appreciate knowing that, your creativity comes from the skill and the discipline of research,
the knowledge, the info, to give yourself the best opportunity to go out and execute at the highest level. Why wouldn't you try to get every bit of information you can get, pre-snap, post-snap, because once you do it, in our game is so predicated on our preparation, practice. That's where your confidence comes from. Yeah. When you're going against Stephon Gilmore, Revis in one-on-ones, testing out, you want to test out what you're going to run in the game. And then you bring that to the drill, which is 7-on-7. Then you take that to team, and all those little things are predicated for you to gain that confidence, for you to show your teammates they can have confidence in you to go out and make a play when the team needs it. And so, if I had a good week of prep, if I had a good week of practice, the game, that was the easiest part. Yeah. Because you already put all the work in.
No, I agree. I feel like watching part of your greatness is the fact that I see a point guard at wide receiver. I don't just see like a wide receiver. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you say like your college experience, going pro, now you're on the team, being a quarterback, right? Like you have changed and redefined that position, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And become a one-of-one, right? What is your thought pattern, right? Or like, what is your motivation, and like, how do you get there? You know what I mean? Like, how do you get to, I'm the coldest dude at this point every moment I step on the field?
Yeah, I think a lot of things come into play when how you get to attain what you're trying to attain. One of the greatest things for me was where I was drafted, New England. The template of how Coach Belichick held a high standard. The leaders of the team, the highest paid guys of the team, were the hardest working guys on the team. The Tom Brady's, the Teddy Bruschi's, the Randy Mosses when I was first a rookie coming in there. You know, like seeing that, you know, seeing Tom Brady with 3 Super Bowls, you know, flying. When I first got there, flying in a coach in November to work his techniques, you know, for throwing to tighten things up for the, you know, the playoff push, you know, after being, you know, he was already on top of the world, but seeing how serious he took his craft, seeing how serious Kevin Falk took his craft, you know, that rubs off on you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you're usually not around. So, you know, taking all those things, that definitely helped me being in the environment that I was in to you know, take and get everything that I got. But also, you know, being a quarterback in college was huge for me, you know, cerebrally, for the receiver position, you know, pre-snap, post-snap, knowing what like pet peeves for quarterbacks were with receivers coming flat to downhill on an in-cut, you know, protecting throws on out cuts, coming downhill, you know, coming back to the quarterback, all those things. I never messed up. I knew that, you know, the quarterback hated that because I used to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, and then also knowing, you know, zones and knowing, you know, the cover. I was able to read coverage very well. Post snap, boom. All right, your safety comes down, I know what I got here. So being able to make myself available to work with Tom Brady whenever he needed, early in my career, you know, later in my career, you know, that helped as well.
Yeah.
I think there was a whole collective of things that, you know, took part to make me get to where I was at.
Yeah, talk about like, because team is so important, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, having a system, having, you know, great players working at the top level and younger guys coming up, assuming that energy, but like team intelligence, you know what I mean? And like how, you know, how a unit, right? Like how what is the championship? Like, what is the ism? Because I never won a championship.
Yeah.
Been on a championship team. Like, what is the it? You know what I mean? What is that thing?
The it is dropping it at the door, that ego. You know what I mean? And really, you know, holding yourself to a standard that everyone is holding themselves to, and being accountable, dependable, and reliable to the guy right next to you. You know, in our sport, you know, 11 guys have to do their job for 6 seconds. And if one fucks up, can you swear on here?
Yeah, hell yeah.
One fucks up. It could be a colossal fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, say side adjustment by the receiver. He doesn't side adjust off the, you know, the blitz.
Yeah.
Quarterback throws an interception. It looks like it's quarterback's fault, but it's really the receiver's fault.
Yeah.
You know, quarterback gets sacked, fumbled. Looks like the quarterback held on the ball too much, but we didn't see the left tackle got demolished by the defensive end. You know, it's such a team thing that, you know, it's pretty cool to be a part of. And with New England, everyone talks about the whole Patriot way.
Yeah.
You know, that was really just the best players on the team working the hardest, pushing each other. And if you didn't fall in line, you weren't around. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
So that's how it was where we were at. And, you know,
It's special. You know what I mean? It's like when you have, and we say this about entrepreneurs, and I use football as a reference for a startup company, because you need offense, you need defense, you need special teams, you need coaches for every position, and you need the founder, the owner, right, to have the right vision for the team. You know what I mean? And so, I just feel like that chemistry, right? Hey, I'm a coder, you know what I mean? And I got to work with the marketing dude. We may not never really interact. Like, I'm on offense, I may not ever interact with the defensive lineman, but I'm there if I see something, you know what I mean? And I feel like that Patriot way was almost like a central intelligence and everyone holding each other accountable.
100%. And, that was one of the things Bill used to do, which, I only played for Bill, and I don't know how it's done, but just from hearing guys that would come into the team, Bill would hold like a 45 to 55-minute team meeting every morning at the start. Usually it's all right, offense, defense, break up.
Yeah.
Go, he would put, 45 to 50 play cut up of offense, defense, and special teams, whether it was from a practice before, a game before, or pulling from clips around the league. But if it was, of our team in a practice before, and you're an offensive guy and you fucking drop a wide route, you're walking down the halls and you got fucking Dante Hightower who's on defense saying, hey, you gonna fucking catch a goddamn wide route? You know what I mean? Or vice versa, a guy misses a tackle, you're down the hall walking, hey, you're gonna miss that tackle again. You know what I mean? So it creates a competitive environment that holds everyone accountable, because as athletes, we all get embarrassed if we don't ball.
No, totally.
And especially when you're around your dogs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you getting bitched at by the coach in front of your boys that usually aren't in your meeting.
Right.
It's one of those things
and
where...
dudes you played against, you know what I mean? Dudes who maybe you competing against and feel like they think they better than you. And it's like, I've been in that situation where it's like, damn, dude, like, on the other side, like, looking at the championship team and being like, what the fuck y'all doing over here? You know what I mean? And like, you don't know how lucky you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's an incredible feeling to like be able to, one, witness it. You know what I mean? But to hear it from your perspective, because the details, success is in the details, right?
The details in the team.
Yep.
It's truly a team game. I mean, everyone from the people on the medical staff to the equipment staff. I mean, everyone's out there to make us do our best job. And when they do their job, it makes us feel comfortable. Totally. And then we go out, our coaches are giving us information. We don't go out and execute. Our coaches get fired. We go out, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a reciprocal thing where we're all in this together and you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Profound. We'll be back with the business inside the second career of the legend, Julian Edelman, on Big Business Inside the Game. We're back with the legend, the boss, the point guard of receivers, the slot guy, Mr. Balance, Mr. Acrobats, Will to Win, Mr. Research, the intelligence, the due diligence. This episode is the championship mindset, the winning mindset. And if I were to recap, it's, check your ego at the door, check your intelligence into the door, fill yourself up with the intelligence, do your studying, you know what I mean? And then that will give you the freedom to be a painter, to be an artist, right? I always like to ask athletes, if you were to liken yourself to 3 artists of any kind, right? Who would they be? Like your style, the way, you know what I mean? Your vibe, like who would be your 3
artists?
It could be a painter, it could be an author, an actor, it could be...
I like Clint Eastwood.
Okay. Clint Eastwood,
man. Just give the look.
It's on. It's on.
It's on. Are you feeling lucky today?
Yeah.
Don't you know what I
Don't
mean?
come this way.
Don't
man.
come this way. I love Hove.
Okay. I see that.
I
see
love
the
Hove.
Jay-Z.
Just and the way he's done it for so long and reinvented himself and off the records, I was about to say off the field,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna try to throw in an art one. Monet, he's like very impressionist, right? Landscape. So you don't know what the fuck you're seeing, but you got to make your road your own. So whatever you see, you're going to see in there. And I could be completely wrong here, folks, on my art stuff, but I just recently got a frame TV. And I pop a frame TV and you could put on like all these museums. And so like I'm trying to learn the art there. I'm not no art historian, but those are my three right now, just off the top of the dome.
I love that. I mean, it definitely describes your game. Winning the Super Bowl, obviously, probably one of the biggest games, one of the biggest wins for you as a football player. But
which one?
I mean, however many you got, man.
2.
Well, I don't care
3.
which. I mean, yeah. I'm not asking you
10.
which one was the best one. I mean, they're all special, right?
Like
Each
children.
one is different, yeah.
Like children.
And that's what I was gonna say. So what's the game that you're playing now? So life off the field.
Yeah.
Right. You've accomplished so much, winning Super Bowls. What is your game like now? Like, what is the game you're playing?
The game right now, I moved out here to LA to be closer to my daughter.
Okay.
So the dad game,
Love that.
and it's
Girl dad.
girl dad.
Okay.
It's a grind. You know what I mean? And I try to do a lot of, like when you're playing, you sacrifice so much for your loved ones.
Totally.
Being able to just take your kid to school and pick her up and bring her to soccer, make her dinner, those types of things, those are awesome. And that's what I remember with my family. So been doing that. And then I have a production company, Coast Productions.
Yep.
We've produced 100% Showtime on documentary, which was awesome. It was my comeback after I tore my ACL.
That was fire.
Right now we're producing Games with Names, my podcast,
Okay.
which has been
shout out to Games with Names.
which has been awesome. Shout out Games with Names.
You've been having some dope guests too.
We've been having fun. We got to get you on, man.
I would love to.
We got to get
Just
you over
let
there
me know.
dumping on Coleco and stuff. We believe out
Come
here.
on, let's do that. Let's do it.
So that also I'm doing the kickoff show on Fox.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
has been awesome.
You're good on that.
And
How is that? I mean, okay, I'm showing up to my first football game, right? Now, I played football my life, retired. Now I'm showing up to my first really like TV show game.
Yeah.
How is that any?
No, it was definitely terrifying. I started out with inside the NFL in New York for 2 years. This last year I did Fox for the first time, which is live TV. Inside the NFL is live to tape, but it's pretty much kind of they shoot it like live. So when that came, that opportunity, it felt a lot like when I got drafted to the Patriots.
Yeah.
The unknown in front of you, you don't know. And what I did was exactly what I did with football. I hired a coach. I sat and talked with a coach and kind of went over, how to approach this. And I worked hard at that, and I continued to do that. And it was scary, but it gives me my football fix.
Yeah.
It keeps me in the game mentally. I love football, so I want to be a part of it as much as I can, and this helps. And then when you retire, you miss the locker room.
Yeah.
You miss hanging out with the fellas, talking about old war stories or just shooting shit. I get that in the green room with Charles Woodson, Michael Vick, Chrissa Thompson. I get that when I sit and watch the games with Howie Long, Michael Strahan,
Amazing.
Jimmy Johnson,
Incredible.
Terry Bradshaw.
Incredible.
just get to be in that environment. You get that football fix. You get that locker room fix with those guys. So it's been fun.
And it's almost like the same thing. Like, here you are on one of the best shows with nothing but legends that have done it for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get to like, there's a way. You know what I mean? There's a way.
You go back to rookie year, bro.
Yep.
Hey, can I get you anything, Howie? You need a towel or something? But it's been fun, and the guys that I worked with, I became real close with Ray Lewis. We went out and traveled together after we did the show, which never thought that would happen after he knocked me out of a game twice. But good things. It's been fun, and these are things, with my production company, we got a couple things in the works that we've sold, and that's been fun to explore other creative outlets that, as athletes, we didn't get to necessarily explore so much when we were playing, but because of our career, it gives us a door open to go and do the other things that we have passions for.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like, what are some of the stories that you guys want to tell from, production companies?
Just experiences of my experience in the NFL. I don't know if I can talk about one, but, like there's kind of, we'll
just
see.
stuff theme-wise. You know what I mean?
Theme-wise, player experience, what
Other
people don't.
athletes, would you do like podcast? I mean,
podcasts,
but
we're
like
doing podcasts
documentaries?
with other athletes. We got 2 athletes that are, legends of the NFL that we were talking about getting something going.
Yeah. Documentaries,
scripted, unscripted. I mean, we're in game. We want to make movies like scripted, unscripted, scripted movies and shows and series, just to feed the people that love what we love. Experiences that we've experienced, and Hollywooding it up and making something fun with it. So there's been some awesome opportunities and some really exciting things in the works right now that it's going to be fun.
And like and obviously what you learned on the field, transferring that into your production company. What are the 3 most transferable things from like football to business that like you hold on to?
One, your team. How the team performs, and it's everybody on your team. It's the camera people, it's the producers, it's the assistants, it's how that team functions is how the team is going to produce. So that's one of the things that that I'm big on. The accountability factor. If you fuck up, you gotta own up to it. Or so that's something.
Or almost fucked up.
Or almost,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And I almost fucked up, and like it's good to admit that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I've taken a lot of like how we prepared for a game for when I'm doing a show. Like walkthrough reps, mental reps.
Yep.
All like those little steps that made me comfortable on the field, makes me comfortable in front of a mic or in front of a camera. That same preparation process is huge. Was that 3?
Yeah, that was 3.
I think that was 3.
Yeah, that was 3.
Wasn't
stand
a
on 3s. 3 people along your journey that have given you advice or said something to you that you have kept throughout your journey.
One easy is my pops.
Yep.
If you're green, you grow. You're ripe, you rot. Meaning,
I like that.
The day you're done learning is the day you're done.
Yeah.
Come out here thinking you got all the answers. Yeah. Tom Brady, when I first got to the Patriots, I remember him saying something like, if all you ever do is all you ever done, then all you ever get is all you ever got. So that was something that stuck out to me, I remember. And then, while we're on the topic, Belichick, I remember, I was in a point in my career where I was a special teamer. I was returning punts, covering kicks. I was getting a little opportunity on offense. And he brought me into his office, and he basically said, you're in a fork of your career right now. I've seen a million of these just go dwindle off, and then I've seen guys take advantage of their opportunity. You got to do one of two things. You either got to get great at one thing where I can't take you off the field, or you got to get really good at a bunch of things to create value for this team. So, I think those are three things that just popped up.
That's amazing, dude. Like, damn, dude. You got some hell of a coaches, man. You got some hell of a people. I mean, but it I think a big part of it is like being a sponge, right? Like if you see greatness, right, it is okay to mimic greatness. It is okay to mimic people that are successful, and that's what I tell, a lot of entrepreneurs or investors, like follow the people who are great.
Yeah.
Like don't be afraid to like get criticism. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
you can't.
Like the people who are gonna hurt your feelings. Like great people are always gonna hurt your feelings. Whether you want an autograph or you may want a piece of advice, but like if you study them, you know what I mean? I feel like you can learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you want that, every day. Like, because there's some players that would try to build a relationship with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And talk their way into his good grace. You know what I mean? Instead of like being in tune. Like you guys were so in tune, right? That it was
shit. I was trying to do anything. I was trying to talk.
Yeah.
I was doing anything.
Yeah.
Receiver, you depend on the quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but definitely.
But you were doing the work though. You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's like that's a lot of times people want.
But true great people you can't trick with your mouthpiece.
Yep.
True great people don't just sit there and listen. They never trust people when they talk. They trust people through actions and through consistent actions. Mm-hmm. And that's something you'd hear all the time from Tom. Like everyone always talks about how you earn his trust. Well, you got to do it in practice each week, and it's not about like you automatically have his trust. You got to continue to keep it because that's what he's doing with himself.
No,
you know what I mean.
I had the beauty of working out with him. I forget where we were, like Yosemite or somewhere, like some private ski resort. Yellowstone. Yeah, I was in Yellowstone and I was hanging out, and they were like, I was with my kids, and they were like, yo, you want to like catch some passes from Tom Brady tomorrow morning? I'm like, fuck yes, dude. Hey, bro. He was like, and I got it on tape. He was like, yo, shit, this dude got hands. I was doing so well, and then I pulled my hamstring.
Oof. Yeah, basketball guys, you guys can be good football players.
We could, but like I just feel like the dynamic running and stopping is like, that was tough.
That's what gets you. It's just the load of,
it's
like, that's what I can imagine gets basketball players, just that the running on that hard floor all those years and jumping. But the cutting
is tough. It's like, it's the war zone. You know what I mean? It's like you do what you can to make it on the field or on the court, because that is like, for me, it was like the most peaceful.
Yeah.
Right? All of my problems went away, and whatever problem that the game presented was nothing. It was nothing. You know what I mean?
Without
it was like
doubt.
Nothing that couldn't be overcome. You know what I mean? Even if you were down 20, even if you know what I mean? It's like there's always this hope, this optimism, this figuring it out. And so I could leave everything off the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be like, all right, I'm focused now. You know what I mean?
A lot of people can't do that though. That's one of your strengths.
Yeah.
The ability to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
A lot of guys can't take what they're doing in their off the field life.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with family. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got family issues or something. Paying bills or anything. Like being able to separate that when you walk into the building is a huge part of what makes people great.
going to your job.
Do your job.
Right? You know, it's like we all got problems. We all have things that are going on. But when you're showing up to win a championship, or you're showing up to build a company, you have to show up as that character, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're showing up, like you're walking into practice and you're saying like, superhero in our arm, right? Like, you have to transform yourself, right? Have you ever dealt with like imposter syndrome?
What is that?
Almost like
Not a word guy.
faking it till you make it, right? Being acclimated.
It's hard to do it in our sport. Guys can't you can't fake it on the football field. Not at the highest level. I mean,
like, think about, like, I think about it. Like,
you live in LA, you see a lot of that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, thinking about as you retire, there's like, you know, we have who we are, what we did, and like, that's done. Now it's like we're traveling, you know what I mean, in this new world, right? And I mean, for you, it's like, for a lot of people, I would say, and I dealt with this just growing up in the hood, like trying to deal with like, I don't want to be this, or this is who I, you know, the stereotypes, but more so from like, as a creator, you know what I mean? It's like, you feel like you have to arrive at a certain point, but you have to be that and play that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's, I mean, even I would say there's some part of it in like the character you build, right? For the player you are.
Yeah.
Right. And then thinking about retirement and this I call it purgatory. Like, figuring out who do you want to be is more so like the question.
Yeah.
It's like when you were retiring, it was like, did you know who you wanted to be next? And then are you figuring that out? Did it still, are you still, you know?
I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to do when I was done. But I lined stuff up while I was playing to do stuff that gave me opportunities and opened up doors for me to explore. And then I jumped into it. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to make a bunch of YouTube videos and shit, like on our off days here and there, to kind of show personality, because, you know, we all have the New England way of how you handle the media.
Yeah,
I mean, that was real. So, you know, it was a way for me to kind of
show what you wanted to do.
Show what I want to do, but also have fun.
Yeah.
You know, we used to make stupid spoof videos of making smoothies, burger time, where we'd, you know, interview someone like full in between Toot and Ferns like style.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, I started being able to make money off of it by product placing and, you know, and using social media and all that stuff to create content. And, you know, then started making merch, and we were one of the first people to really make merch in the game. Yeah. You know, because I was the first one on Instagram in my locker room. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was a bunch, you know, all the old guys would look at me like, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's, you know, playing dice. I'm sitting there on my phone, which now, you know,
highly entertained. Yeah. Even more entertained than they are.
Right? Now fast forward to when I was old. Yeah. And now everyone's on their phone. Yeah. And now I want to sit and talk.
Now you want to talk. Oh, man.
But, you know, with all that stuff that I did on all the social platforms, you know, it gave me opportunities, you know, to go and do Inside the NFL. And we were producing when I was playing documentaries with the NFL. When, you know, me and Amendola made this documentary to promote the NFL Mexico game. We went out to Mexico City and did like a travel type thing to show out and you know, publicize what we were doing in Mexico. So I knew I wanted to create in some form of fashion in that kind of space and taking it to longer format like TV and movies. It was like the ultimate goal of when we were originally doing it. And then when I got out, you know, being able to be in front of the camera and do Inside the NFL was only going to make that better. You know, it was going to make me more seen, I guess. And then it would help me do what I ultimately want to do, is which produce those kind of things.
Killer, man.
You know,
this guy is going to be making movies, documentaries. I want to ask, like, what's your like, who's your wish list story? Like, if there was like a documentary that maybe it's already been made, but like if there was,
I would have liked to do the Dynasty with my terms. You know what I mean? Get
the players' inside perspective. Huh?
Yeah, I know that's all out there right now with how it is. But if you want to see how it really was.
Yeah. But I would say that, you know, it's interesting, right? Because I feel the same way. It's like the We Believe documentary. Yeah. It's like, I want to tell that story because I'm like deeply ingrained in the story. I'm not We Believe. We Believe is the team, but I don't think that anybody understands it's not the team. It is a Bay Area story, right? Because, you know, you
stupid doo-doo dumb.
Man, you know what I mean? And it's like,
it's real.
It's like when I got there, I was a fish out of water, you know what I mean? Because I'm from LA. And as you know, the Bay and LA clash and we got rivalry. So I didn't even know how to act in the Bay.
But when you get to a certain level, being from California is kind of...
I'm telling you, bro, when I got traded, bro, I was like, because I was like, well, fuck it, I go to Golden State. You know what I mean? It was like one of those, like, you can go here or we're going to trade you here. I was like, man, fuck it, I go to Golden State, I guess. And I was like, damn, like they don't really, you know, like they don't really fuck with LA and I went to UCLA and da-da-da-da-da. So you like got all this shit going on in your head. And I'm like, man, I don't even know how they party. Me and my boy Rico Hines, we go out to a party. Everybody partying and shit.
Put it look like you smell some piss.
Oh my, and it's fucking, and everybody in the club smoking weed. And I'm like, bro, like what the fuck is going on, right? Like, yo, like, are we in a whole new like, are we not in the NBA anymore? Is this a new country, like a new city? And he was like, man, it's just, I guess it's how the Bay is. And this girl, she goes like this, and she comes right between us, and she walks up to me, and she goes, welcome to the Bay, and start grabbing my collar. And I'm like looking at her like, what the fuck you doing? And then another dude grabbed my collar. He was like, hey. So I'm like, okay, like, is this what we on? Is this what we on? And since that day, I was like, now I'm California. Yeah. Now it's California love. You know what I mean? Like, but that
this is what it is.
Yeah, it's a story, right? And I think that, you know, I love athletes wanting to tell the stories, right? Because like you said, being on the bus, the plane, now in those rooms, it's those stories that the fans are never privy to that should be in documentaries and movies. So I commend you on that, man.
Now, yeah. And then just, you know, there's so many stories. I just want to tell, you know, football stories, but also no football stories. I love comedy.
Okay.
You know, like super bad type movies. Like when I first saw Super Bad, I was crying the whole movie. The opening scene, guys talking about hiding his porn thing from his mom. Like that was the time I was a kid when I was doing the same shit. You know what I mean? Yep. So like that was there's so many things that I want to explore, but it, you know, start off in the sport world, sport adjacent, and then hopefully, you know, dip off into other things.
Man, I love to collaborate with you sometimes.
We got it.
Last question. Since this is the Business Inside the Game show, what is your business inside the game? What has been your thing that's kept you being able to transition no matter what the road or the end goal is? What is that that inside track that you have?
The ability to understand that you don't know everything and to be able to find someone that has done what I'm trying to do and really work hard and take advice from them. So hard work would be like the root, but you can't just work hard. You have to find it from someone, a mentor, someone in that line of business. You know, it's kind of like we were talking pre-show. You know, the guy that was all on your college teams, yoked up, had everything. He probably was the hardest working dude in the weight room, but he didn't know what to work hard at.
Right.
You know, so there's working smart. So I would say, you know, hard work is mine. You know, if I'm really interested in something, you get really obsessive with it, and you know, the preparation process.
Yep.
I'm a big prep guy.
Yep.
So it's that.
Love it.
And the team.
Love it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The legend. Preparedness, hard work, intelligence. Check your ego at the door. Learn, find a mentor. That is a championship mindset from a champion, a legend, and someone we're happy to announce. This was our first episode, Business Inside the Game. Thank you, Julian Edelman.